This is Guitarist TV, and my name is Jason J. Rock Houston, and today we're talking with guitarist Donny Watrous. Am I pronouncing the name right, Donny?
Watrous, yes.
Watrous, okay. And right off the back, Donny, I want to ask you, the name you go by, is it Don or I wasn't sure because, I had a difficult time looking it up on Facebook. Finally found it. Yeah.
The band name is D-O-N.
Okay, just D-O-N, okay.
And I'm Donnie. And yeah, it's a derivative of my name. I'm the one that started it and
I'm
founded it.
sure, yeah, that's what I would have figured, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was funny. I even noticed in finding the Facebook page, I had to put D-O-N, and then it came up. Because if you just
Right.
put Don, a whole bunch of other
Mhm.
stuff comes up.
Right,
Anyway,
yeah.
so and the reason I make such a big deal about that is because I tell you, I've never heard about you before, Donnie. Your publicist sent me a press release on you, and I was checking out some of the music, and I was
Mhm.
really impressed. I thought, wow, where has this guy been hiding?
Honestly, I'm kind of new to this. I've only been recording and writing since the pandemic. My first album, Trial and Error, came out the end of 2020. And Second Gear came out in March of 2022.
Okay.
So where have I been hiding? Well, just been writing and
Well,
recording.
that's a good place to start because, again, that's a very interesting story. So, um, what have you been doing most of your life until you decide, okay, you know what, I think I'm going to try to start recording some music?
Well, the past 25 years, I've been a design engineer.
Oh, wow, wow.
Yeah,
And
so I still do it. I still do electrical design, design electrical systems for roller coasters and things like that.
I want you to know, I love that because, I mean, you can do more than one thing, obviously. And, it's funny to hear that you engineer roller coasters and that because I listen to some of this music and it's up and down. So I mean, like Momentum, I really love the song Momentum. I mean, it's heavy, it's kind of metal, it's got nice melody, it's very tasteful. That's the thing about all these songs I notice is you seem like the kind of guitar player that probably you could shred with the best of them, but that's not what this is. It's very tasteful playing. The songs are all some of them kind of remind me of like kind of NASCAR type music that could be played around a racetrack, or when you're at a race or something.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, some of the songs, it's like when I hear them back, after I record them, I hear them back, and it's like what goes through my mind is, I just want to get my car and just go take a drive and
Yeah,
listen to
yeah,
this stuff.
yeah.
You know? Sure, but yeah, it's kind of funny you say that. It's like, yeah, I've been doing like the design stuff for, oh gosh, 25 years, I guess. And then I've only been playing guitar, here it comes, for about 9 years.
You gotta be kidding me. That was gonna be my next question.
I'm dead serious. I've only been playing, well, all right, let me back up a little bit. Back in my, teen years, if you will, I picked up a guitar, never really learned how to play, just learned a few power chords and just bang, and that's as far as that went. I never learned any leads or any of that. So fast forward up to about, well, yeah, about 9 years ago. I was go I well the church I was going to at the time, they found out I used to play guitar
Wow.
and asked me if I would be interested in playing, and I says, well, all I know is just a few chords. I don't know, anything fancy. And they're like, well, okay. So they put me on the back burner, if you will, like, and I just played a few chords here and there, and then I got it back into it. So then I was like, you know what? I would love to learn leads. So I found a guy up here in where I live. His name's Mick Luke, and I went under his wing for about, oh gosh, I don't know, a year and a half, I guess. And he taught me how to play leads, and he's teaching me music theory and all this stuff. So I guess I just picked it up pretty quick. So naturally, I'm not a speed shredder. I'm not Ingve Malmsteen. I'm not one of those guys that plays 150 miles an hour. I'm more melodic, more
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
I picked up on that. And the interesting thing is, typically to me, I love a lot. I love a lot of guitar music. Stuff like Steve Vai, Joe Satriani. The
Love.
thing is when you do an album like that, you got to be able to really kind of make each kind of track. If it's going to be a really good album, you want each track to kind of stand out. You want each track to kind of be a little bit, um, different. And what's interesting is I'm a guy that typically loves listening to music with lyrics because I'll be real honest typically when I listen to music, especially music with lyrics, I'm trying to figure, okay, what is the song about? What's the story that they're trying to tell? And what's interesting in listening to your music, as funny as it sounds, it doesn't even matter if it doesn't have vocals. I think maybe because they've all got nice melody lines, you're just able to kind of go with it. Trendy, that's another one of my favorite songs off the album, Second Gear. It seems, again, I listen to that and I just kind of get a real peaceful, kind of calming vibe, something maybe you could meditate to.
Exactly. When I wrote that song, originally it was recorded. I wrote it for my ex-girlfriend the girlfriend at the time.
Uh,
And I wanted to do something, kind of mellow on an acoustic, which exactly what that was. It was on an acoustic guitar. And I wrote it in my living room. Well, I write all my music in my living room. But just it was originally for her, and then of course, time, fast forward a year later,
yeah.
we're no longer together. But it's still a nice song. So I was like, you know what, let me just keep it and release it and everything like that. And then my understanding is it got in Japan, it got on the charts to #1 for a little while, but I'm not sure if it's
Amazing. Yeah. You look at a band like Mr. Big. They're huge, But what's interesting is Mr. Big was always a lot bigger over there in Japan. Even to this day, they're getting ready to do a farewell tour, but Mr. Big can go over like anytime they want, like do four or five shows a year in Japan, and they make bank. From my point I'm making is a lot of the Japanese fans, from what I understand, they're really they love their music and they're really when they latch on to something.
Oh yeah, they stick with it. As a matter of fact, that Japanese band, you probably remember them from the '80s. They were called Loudness.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah, well, they're trying to make a comeback tour. Unfortunately, with I guess in Japan they're still playing Pandemic over there,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're not available to tour the U.S. or the world, because one of my friends' bands, they're called the Midnight Devils. They were supposed to open for Loudness, but unfortunately that tour.
Oh, Midnight Devils. I interviewed the singer, man. He's a super cool guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, the whole band is really good. I mean, Chris, Jimmy. Well, Jimmy's actually his last name sums it right up. Jimmy Mess. And
Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah. He's also, I think, played with Pretty Boy Floyd over the years. But
yeah.
what I love about the Midnight Devils, great rock and music, but they're one of those bands that it's the whole package. It's the costumes, the images. Yeah.
Yeah, glam slam rock or whatever they call it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
and they're one of those bands, very much like Poison back in the day. Glam Slam, Metal Kings. They were very proud of what they were. And didn't try to hide it. Another song of yours I really dig is Driver X. Now to me, that's I kind of picture that. Let's say if you were giving a concert, I think that would be a great a great opening song that really get the crowd rocking.
Yeah, that is a really good song. Actually, for open, like I played a couple shows live. I'm still trying to get another guitarist because my last guitarist kind of flaked on me. But I played a show a couple months back in February, and I actually opened the show with off the first album, Trial and Error. I did a cover to the theme for the movie The Terminator, but it did like a so I actually opened the show with that, and that got the crowd going really wild.
And another one I really was digging the other day when I was prepping for an interview, listening to some of the stuff is a lullaby for the children never born. To me, I listen to that and it's just kind of again good vibes, good time music. Something to really kind of one of those tracks to get down to in the summer. Hot day driving.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when you listen to it, do you get the vibe? It's like, because I'm a big fan of 1980s rock metal stuff.
Well, it's funny you say that because one of the things I noted here is a lot of these songs kind of could fit in with like 80s type rock. Yeah.
Like here's something that you probably did not pick up on. You said you like that song Momentum, which is the first track off Second Gear.
Yeah.
If you listen to it, it should give you a White Snake vibe.
Kind of did,
Because
yeah.
that song "Crying in the Rain." Listen to that.
Yeah.
Momentum. The only difference, there's a few chords that's very similar, just in a different key.
Yeah, I don't know how big of a Whitesnake fan, but if you're anywhere near the Whitesnake fan I am, I was curious. The big hit song they had, of course, was 1987, "Here I Go Again." But did you know they did another version and back in 1982? Sounds completely different. Um,
Oh, really?
you should go and you should go check it out. Like go on YouTube, type like Whitesnake Saints and Sinners. I think was on that album, and
Oh,
and he's got different lyrics. It's like something like a hobo, and it's just kind of different. You can hear how the song has changed over the years because they updated it obviously in '87.
oh yeah. I think that was probably their biggest album.
Whitesnake, yeah, and so Donnie, what are you doing like as far as touring? I mean, any live shows that, to support Second Gear or?
As of right now, I would like to. I'm pushing to get another guitar. So once I do, then yes, I do want to get this show on the road, as they say.
Yeah.
I've gotten offers through the record label to be an opening act for some of these bands. So I'm hoping to get a guitarist in the next couple months here, and get them up to speed with the music.
And correct me if I'm wrong. You guys, you're signed to Pavement. Is that correct?
I am signed to Pavement, or I'm partnered with them. Yes.
Yeah. Great little label. I always loved Pavement. I mean, they've given me a lot of great bands and musicians to interview over the years. But one thing I noticed right away, not only are they great at supporting their artists and really promoting the stuff, but I dig the fact it's talk about diversity. I mean, they've got everything from Candlebox, '90s alternative rock band, to Puddle of Mud. They've got metal, they've got rap, they've got a little bit of everything.
They actually have Ted Nugent on there as well.
Yeah. I hear he's going on his farewell tour, but yeah.
He's to call it. Well, he's been around for like 80 years.
Well, I don't know about I know a lot of people don't like Ted Nugent because of his politics, but I tell you, I was a fan. It doesn't bother me. Person can feel however they want, but point being, I love Ted Nugent. I support anything he puts out. I went out and got the latest album that is on Pavement. Kick-ass stuff, And
yeah, it's music, it's
people
like
can say what they want about Ted Nugent, but you know what? He's true to who he is, and so you got to give the guy that. And I would love to see like you opening up for Ted Nugent. Could you imagine?
Actually, the dream would be opening up for Satriani.
There you go. Yeah.
Dream.
Or even better yet, could you imagine if they did like one of those G3 tours?
Yeah, that would be amazing. Actually, Steve Vai did something a couple years ago with 5 acts. He had Nuno Betancourt, he had Tosin Abazi from Waiters, he had Zach Wilde, he had Yngwie Malmsteen. It was called Generation X.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, wow.
That show, man, that was amazing.
Steve Vai, I've been a fan of his since his David Lee Roth day. When that first David Lee Roth album came out in '86, I really had never heard up until that point. I never heard anybody really who literally made their guitar talk. I mean, he was talking to me, like in that Yankee Rose song, and like David, and I'm like, wow, this guy is literally talking through his guitar.
Yeah, he always does those little squawks and squeaks with it.
Yeah, and so he had Passion and Warfare. There was the single off of that. The audience is listening. I mean,
have that album.
Kind of like a Hot for Teacher vibe, but I loved it because again, Steve Vai was one of the first guitar players that really made me realize that you didn't necessarily have to have vocals in a song for it to be good.
Exactly, and that's kind of why I do what I do, because as you were saying, you like songs with lyrics, but you also like songs that, if I can make the guitar be the singer, if you will, and that way I can avoid opening what I call Pandora's box with the, some people might get offended of, you might be talking about something in a song, and nowadays people get offended about everything.
For sure.
So I wanted to number one, let the guitar do all the talking, just let the music speak for itself,
Yeah.
and not have to worry about opening that box up and saying, well, why are you singing about that? What's this song? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
Joe Perry said, "Let the music do the talking." But that's what I loved about this album and your music is that it's one of the first times I've listened to about like an entire album and not even kind of had that thought of I wonder what this would sound like if it had vocals. It was just that good on its own, and I think that speaks not only as to your talent as a guitar player, but as a songwriter because people may not understand this, but even though this is music but doesn't have any vocals, you're still very much a songwriter, you know?
exactly. And it's like sometimes it's actually harder because songs that have lyrics in them, it's basically just that, you got your basic chords, it's usually 4 to 6 chords depending on the song. And then of course, the person singing is the
Main
is the
feature, yeah. Yeah.
it's the main feature. And then all you got to do is like throw a quick guitar solo in there midway through, and then that's it. Now with like what I do, the whole thing is a guitar solo.
I think the biggest difference too in like the type of music you do is if you have a track, if you have music and it's got if you got a song and it's got a vocal track, then okay, the vocal track also is kind of a guide. It's telling the listener kind of a story, like I said, and that maybe helps you in writing the music. Kind of vocals kind of guide you. Whereas like your music, I think to me it doesn't even matter what it's about. It's much more to me. I get much more of a vibe. Like okay, I wrote some of the things I wrote down. Like hey, this is NASCAR type music. I could envision listening to this at a NASCAR race or like good vibe music. It's just that's the vibe I get. It's not so much. It doesn't really matter what it's about. It could like you said, it could be whatever you want it to be.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, that song Second Gear, you said the NASCAR vibe. I don't know if you've seen the video for Second Gear, but
Yeah,
it's
really cool. And that's the other thing. I love the video because not only is it is a cool video because it's kind of got the race car kind of vibe or NASCAR, whatever you want to say. But I dig the fact that like you didn't have you and your band. Not, it was different. It's like it's not like every other music video out there. That's my point.
yeah, I try to be different
And
on this.
I can tell there's a lot of work put into it. So it's not something that was just kind of rushed and that's what makes it so cool because it is different. And like I said, I was joking with you at the top of the interview about it took me a little while to find the Facebook page, but you know what? It was worth it. I think anybody that really wants to search your music out, it'll be well worth the wait.
Oh yeah. I mean, once you figure out to put dashes between all the characters, you'll
Yeah.
be able to find pretty much. I mean, I'm on YouTube, I'm on
Okay,
Spotify.
that's the easiest place I found you right away was on YouTube. I just had to type, Dawn and then the name of the album.
Yeah, the name of the album or one of the songs. Yeah, exactly. And it'll come right up.
So can
But
people? This is obviously people can go on YouTube as you said if they want to check it out for um, free. Now, can people go and buy physical CDs or let's talk about that?
you can on, well, actually Amazon, because the first 2 albums I released independently. So I went through CD Baby, and
Right.
they put all the music on Amazon, so you can get it there. And I also have an Etsy store, so you can get it directly from me as well. Um, but yeah, Amazon has it, and I think I've seen it on eBay too. I don't have any new copies,
And
not used
so,
ones.
who are your guitar influences as far as the guys influenced you when you were growing up?
Well, Satriani definitely. I mean, that should be in there. But I've always liked Dream Theater. So John Petrucci is a huge influence. And of course, when I was younger, when I was a teenager, Dream Theater wasn't around yet. So growing up, I was Pink Floyd and Rush fan.
Pink Floyd. I was going to ask you because I kind of you got kind of a David Gilmour kind of vibe to your.
People tell me that, yeah, it's like okay, because he's not a shredder, he's not what he's kind of melodic and he's kind of creative too. So
I mean, very very talented guitar player, no doubt. But I think more than anything, part of the reason Gilmour's had such a huge lasting career is because I mean he's a songwriter first.
yeah, agreed. And I think for me writing the music, I think what's helped as far as is that music theory. When I was taking my lessons with Mick here in my area here. You know who else lives in my area? Remember
Sure.
Sabotage?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah.
John Oliva.
John Oliva, yeah, yeah. Same.
He lives just a couple miles down the road from me.
Yeah, I heard supposedly they're working on a new Sabotage album. I would love for that to be true.
You and me both. I'd love to hear something new from them. And speaking
Yeah.
of new, I'm working on something myself that's new.
What's that? Let's hear about that.
Well, it's gonna be it's I'm tossed up between the name of the album, but I've already recorded two tracks for it. One is kind of like a power ballad.
Okay.
It starts off with yes, everybody likes that Trinity song, which is great. So the first half of the song is an acoustic, similar to Trinity, but it's more of a darker feel to it because it's in a minor scale. But then about halfway through it goes straight into the electric, like a typical power ballad would.
Yeah.
And so for the people that I have played it for, of course, Pavement loves it. And then the song I just released, or it's not even released yet, the one I just finished. I just recorded. What's today?
Today's the 19th. Yeah.
I recorded it Monday afternoon.
Wow.
And we just finished mixing and mastering it today, actually, this morning. So I just got the copy of it, and it's probably, to be honest with you, it's probably the best thing I've written so far.
And do you suspect that'll be coming out this year?
Either late this year or early 2024. Now I'll probably release
A single.
a single, probably the one I just recorded, because if you think Second Gear is high octane,
Yeah.
you're gonna love this one. I call it a happy life, because number one, it's got that happy feel. It's in a major scale. So, but it's just one of those really really cranking songs and everything, and it gives you a really good vibe, and it's like it's amazing. So like I said,
About amazing. Again, in prepping for interview, I was going online and looking to see what I could find about you, and quite a few articles popped up. I mean, how surprising has that been to you? Like, oh wow, got a review here. They're checking this out.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like I said, I've already done some interviews, and of course they've been posted. So I was like, Rock Limes Magazine, they posted an article, and of course, that's available. And then there's an online radio station called CBJ Radio, and they're out of Wyoming. They've been playing my stuff pretty regularly.
See, again, and where are you from? Did you say?
I'm in the Tampa Bay, about an hour north of Tampa in Florida.
Okay. Yeah.
So
wow.
Spring Hill is the name of the town I live in. And and it's funny because I just saw these guys the other night, actually Sunday night, Queensryche.
Oh wow, Queensryche, love them, yeah.
Yeah, so the drummer and the singer, Casey Grillo and Tyler Torre, they live about an hour south of me.
Wow, how cool is that? Yeah.
So, and I got to hang out with them after the show for a little while, so that was pretty cool.
Did you see the other bands on Marty Friedman or Trauma?
Yep. They opened. Marty Friedman was amazing. I mean, that's the perfect example. You talk about influences. That's another example, because when I was in the Army right out of high school in 1987, and I went over to Germany because that's where they sent me. I spent 3.5 years over there, and a buddy of mine in the Army, he listened to that kind of music. He's the one that introduced me to Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, and all those guys. Well, then all of a sudden he pulls out the CD. It's called Cacophony, which is Marty Friedman and Becker, and so since then I've been listening to Marty Friedman. So when I saw him the other night, this is the first time I've seen him in concert. I was blown away.
What a great bill to see. I mean, I didn't get a chance to see when they came to my neck of the woods, but you know what? I mean, especially Marty Friedman, I think that's the first major arena U.S. tour he's done as a solo artist in a number of years. And then other band Trauma, I don't know if you're aware of this, that was Cliff Burton's pre-Metallica band, and they're finally getting some serious recognition after all these years.
Wow, really? I mean, if that's the case, I mean, Cliff Burton, he died in '86, I guess.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's how far back this band Trauma goes. They've had members come and go, but they they were big, in the Bay area, I guess, around that time. Yeah, you could go online and research it. But yeah, that was the band he was in prior to Metallica, and the way he got Metallica, he made a condition to Metallica. Okay, if you want me to join your band, you guys are going to have to leave, Downey, California, and move to San Francisco.
Right. Actually, Trauma now is in Sacramento.
Okay, yeah, but they were originally from the Bay Area. But yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Kind of like I said, that's a band that's been around for years, and this is kind of the first time they got a major record deal. Now they're getting some serious attention. It's like, okay, yeah, about time somebody took them serious.
Yeah, it's funny because I'd never heard of them until I found out they were on the bill for Queensryche. I was like, well, so I had to research them, figure out who they are, because I like to know a little bit about the band.
And the guitar player, I interviewed him, and he was telling me that he said, yeah, that he's a much younger, and some of the fans, that the touring guitarist Casey, and he plays in a Kiss tribute band, and he's like, yeah, man, it was because we were in serious negotiations to be, a lot of other bands were too, to be the opening band on that tour, and we finally got it.
Oh wow, yeah, yeah, that's pretty wild. So yeah, well, I mean, they did a great job. I mean, they're a good band. It was kind of weird though because they're more like a thrash metal band.
Yeah.
And then you get Marty Freeman and Queensryche, which is more of the prog style, and that.
Yeah, I don't know how big the Queensryche fan you are. I mean, if you go back to the original band or not, but like, it's almost kind of like I compare it to Van Halen. Van Halen's one thing with David Lee Roth, something else with Sam Hagar. I mean, to me, Queensryche with Todd LaTorre are a little more heavier than with Jeff Tate.
Yeah, the new stuff is definitely a little bit heavier than when Jeff.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And then what a cool show to see too, because Marty Freeman's like a thing all his own, and then each act kind of is giving you a little different taste of metal.
Right, exactly. And I was watching Marty Freeman play, and in my mind, I'm thinking, I went to the concert, and I'm about like maybe 7 rows back from the stage, and I'm watching this guy, and I'm thinking, that could be me.
Yeah. And Donny, the cool thing about your music too, I think, in doing live shows, is you could play with a variety of acts. You could maybe play with a band that leads a little, towards the hard rock metal, but maybe even you could open for a thrash band. It just kind of, depends. I think your type of music, the options are wide open.
Yes, my music is a little bit more diverse because I got heavier songs and I've got more, laid back.
That's what's cool. You're just telling me I'm working on a ballad, and I think, oh, that'd be cool because it kind of opens it up where you can kind of the set box, be whatever you want it to be. There's no limitations when you're doing music like this. You want to do something that makes you feel good. You can do a track like that. If you want to do something that reminds you of NASCAR, like Momentum or Second Gear, you could do that. Now, some of these titles, like a lullaby for the children never born. Now, when I was looking at that, I thought, that before I even listened to the song, I thought, just the title, man, that sounds kind of dark. And that's what I loved about it. Thinking one thing going into it, and then, wow, this is good time music, good vibes.
It's just more kind of like you said, like that. You get.
Yeah, but I love that you go in. Yeah. Kind of losing you.
Oh yeah. And then some of the songs, like you said, you like Driver X. If I'm not, that's the one that like stops in between. It has like a reggae thing in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So and then it gets real heavy and hard. And it's funny because that part of the song, my friend that runs the studio where I record, his name's Mike Chauncey. He played the other instruments for the CD for the albums. Because at the time I didn't have a full band. I just recently picked up a drummer and a bass guitarist. So he actually came up with that idea. He goes, "Hey, let's switch this thing up." And I was like, "Well, what do you have in mind?" And he goes, "Do you trust me?" I was like, "Well, just let me hear what you're doing." So he gets into this thing, and then all of a sudden it's like everything goes clean. It's just this little reggae feel thing going on. And then he does like maybe 4 measures of that. And then he just, when we come back in, he goes, "Okay, now do your tapping, your hammer-ons and all that stuff." And I was like, "All right, cool." So then when he put this thing together, when we finalized it, it was just like, so it goes one way,
Yeah.
runs you off track into another direction, and then slams you back into the original.
And you know, Donnie, what I really love about your story is like at the top interview, you're telling me, you know, oh, well, I just started playing about 9 years ago. I wasn't that serious about music, and and yet I'm a guy who just listens to music. I can't play a musical instrument, and you've got all the guitar lingo. You talk like somebody who's been doing it for years. So I was curious, like when the people at church ask you, hey, oh, you play guitar? Okay, let's hear some. Like, what was the reaction you got? Were you kind of surprised that everybody's telling you how great you are, and you're like, oh, I didn't think I was that great.
uh, well, at first it was like, okay,
Yeah,
at first it was more like they were telling me, well, you'll get it, you'll get it. Of course, I was rusty and everything like that. But then as time went on, they were like, oh yeah, everybody at the church was like, oh, we really enjoy what you're doing. And because, as I got a little bit better, I started putting a little bit more, like I call them sprinkles. And that's just like little arpeggios and things like that. A few minor leads. This is, real slow, but minor, it's church music. So, it's all good. And then, and then when I started doing my own thing, I was really shocked with myself, to be honest with you, because I didn't think I had it in me to do that.
and that's what I love about this story because and that's why I'm bringing it up because talking to you, Donnie, you're like a good vibe guy. You're full of energy. I love that. And here's a kind of a weird question, but how did you get the deal with Pavement? Were the people telling Donnie, this stuff is good. You should really try to get a deal. How did the deal come about? Did you reach out to them or?
Okay, so here's an awesome story. Okay, I told you previously I'm friends with the Midnight Devils.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're signed. Yeah.
So let me start how I met them. Here in local venue in Clearwater, Ruth Eckerd Hall, Yngwie Malmsteen came through.
Wow.
Midnight Devils opened up. Okay, so I was like, okay.
Talk about a show. Yeah.
Oh, and then Paralandra came on, and then Yngwie. So yeah, it was a great bill. So after Midnight Devils played, they went and signed autographs and everything at their merchandise table. So I went over and bought a CD, and then they signed it for me and started talking. And I told them I play guitar and everything like that. So we started talking. Next thing you know, I got their Facebook contacts. So I started chatting with them online. I sent them a couple clips of what I do, and we just became friends. So fast forward to back in, what was it, February? Yeah, we're in April now. So end of January, early February, they came back through and they opened up for that band Enough's Enough.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So because I'm friends with the Midnight Devils, they got me into the show for free. So I'm hanging out with the Devils, and then Sam goes up to Chip Zdanovich, the front man for Enough's Enough, and he says, let me introduce you. Donnie, this is Chip. Chip, this is Donnie. And then Sam goes, oh, Donnie plays guitar, and he's got a couple albums out. So Chip was like, oh, really? So fast forward to the end of the concert that night, Chip walks up to me. He says, hey, is there a way I can hear some of this stuff? So I pulled out my phone, pulled it up on YouTube, played 2 songs for him. And he says, I really like what you're doing. He goes, I can help you out. Now, in my mind,
like, sure.
I'm thinking, no, in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, I could use some good pointers and some tips. Hey, you're in the industry. You're making moves. So I had no idea that he forwarded those songs. This is my understanding of it.
Yeah.
He forwarded those songs to Pavement. Pavement reached out to me.
Wow, so, I love that because what I love about your story, especially, is I just took it up 9 years ago, and some people that have been playing all their life don't have that story. This is a feel good story.
Yeah, it's a blessing, really. It's a godsend in all reality.
So Donnie, I really enjoyed talking today, and I really I want to let's keep in touch, and I really mean it. Anytime you have anything to promote, feel free to reach out to me, and we can do this again because I'm telling you, I got to be honest, very much like Chip Zdanovich. I'm just hearing your music for the first time, but I'm a instant fan, loving every bit of it, and so I can imagine the new stuff you're working on is going to be even better.
Oh, it's definitely better.
Which is an
Yeah,
odd thing to say, you know. It's kind of like Def Leppard. Pyromania is the best thing we ever did, and then there was Hysteria.
yeah, and it took them 10 years to release that, but
We won't
they
take you 10 years, but you know what I mean? Yeah.
no, I seem to be every year and a half coming up with something new.
Okay, well, Donnie, I want to thank you once again. The interview we just did will be getting posted probably within the next week. I'll be sure to let Barbara know, but definitely keep in touch with me. And anytime you want anything to promote, I'd be more than willing to have you back.
Hey, no problem. Yeah, definitely add me on Facebook, man.
I will, yeah. Yeah, I'll look you up and I'll do that as soon as I get off. Okay.
Sounds good.
Take care, bud. Bye bye.
Hey, thanks, buddy.